Every year, millions of people worldwide spend billions of dollars on music, theater, sports, and other live entertainment. From metal to monster trucks, rap to wrestling, kids to country, Pushing Cases is dedicated to all of the people on past, present, and future road crews that make sure the show always goes on. Check it! On this episode, we're pushing cases with What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pushing Cases. Today, man, we are in for a treat. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Jody Diaz. Hello, sir.
Hello. Hello, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah? You're coming to us from Spain, am I right?
That's correct. South of Spain. Represent.
All right. Glad to have you. For those of you who don't know, Jody and I met on the Bob the Builder tour, randomly enough. And let's see, Jody, what were you doing at the time?
At the time, I was a sound technician.
Sound tech, all right.
Yeah.
So we only toured, like I've said before in some other episodes, only was on that tour for about 3 or 4 months. So
that's right. You did one of the legs.
Yeah, I just did that last fall leg in the US.
2003.
Before it got wrapped up. Yeah.
Yep.
So, before then, I didn't know Jody, and we haven't really worked together since. But we, of course, know a lot of the same people and kept in touch. And so I'm really, really excited to have you on the show and talk to you more, because I'm going to learn a lot of stuff that everybody else is going to learn at the same time.
Sweet. I'm happy to see you again, man.
Definitely. So let's start by the backstory. Tell us a little bit about Jody, where you come from, and how you got to where you are today.
So I was born in London back in '81, and then a few months later we moved to the south of Spain because my dad is Spanish, my mum's British. I grew up in the south of Spain, and then end of the '90s I moved to Manchester to study music technology. And when I got back a couple of years later, I managed to get in touch with Jake Berry, and he had a little job for me on a tour called Bob the Builder, which made me travel around the world for a couple of years. And that was my first gig ever.
How did you know to get in touch with the one and only Jake Berry?
Funnily enough, one of his first ex-wife, who's still very close to him, she's still very good friends with him, was just happened to be a friend of my parents. So when I finished studying, she said, "Why didn't you email Jake?" And I was like, "Yeah, right, like the Jake Berry, production manager for the Rolling Stones, is going to have a job for me." But because he had so many tours at the same time, he was like, "I've got this one little gig." And they said, "We need a sound tech." It was more like an apprenticeship. I got paid, but not at the rates that we get paid. I would have normally gotten paid, but it was a small budget tour. They needed 1.5 sound techs, so I was the half.
Gotcha.
Even though I was double the size of Arnie.
Yeah, right. Arnie. Yeah, I'd love to talk to Arnie too. Arnie was the other sound tech, the one
crew chief. Yeah.
All right. So when did you start on that tour?
I started on that tour January 2001. Okay. So I was 20 years old when I started that tour. I turned 21 on that tour.
Okay.
And I turned 22 on that tour as well.
And 22, yeah.
Yeah.
Had you ever traveled before, but besides from Spain and to London?
Spain and UK were the only 2 places I'd ever been to.
Gotcha.
I traveled back and forth a lot, but I'd never been, not even to Portugal, which is just down the road from here.
Gotcha. And then now you're going everywhere, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
I mean, I guess I hadn't even thought about that till you just mentioned it, but because I'd always gotten on planes to go to the UK back and forth, I would always have that feeling of traveling abroad, even though I was just going to visit my grandma and my aunts and so on. Okay. But I guess the first time I traveled outside of Spain and the UK was the Australian leg with Bob the Builder before we went to the US. So that was pretty weird, thinking about it now.
Sure. So, I mean, you get on a plane, go to Australia. Did y'all tour in a bus when you got there?
No, in Australia, you don't really tour on buses. The distances are too long.
Okay.
So what we'd do is we'd fly from city to city. Right. You'd load out on the Sunday evening, put it all in the trucks. Monday morning, leave the hotel, go to an airport, fly to the next city. Normally have, I guess we would load in on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I can't really remember. I guess it depends on the distance. We only did like, what did we do? We did Brisbane, Newcastle, Sydney, and Melbourne. I think we only did those 4 cities.
How about, was it a culture shock to you at all? I mean, Australia, they still speak English there, but you know, they got some different cultural traditions there. Anything come to mind?
I remember. Do you remember Graham?
Yeah, totally.
One of the other machine drivers, cast members,
Mr. Shifty.
Yeah. Well, I remember, like, I guess the biggest shock I had with him was running into a bunch of possums in a park in the middle of the night, and we didn't know what they were.
Oh, okay.
And we're like, what are those animals? And we like bent down to look, and they all started running towards us, and we shit our pants and ran to the hotel. As we got to the hotel, the receptionist was like, "You okay?" I was like, "Some animals were chasing us down the park." She's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, they're like this big." And she was like, "Possums?" And I was like, "Are they dangerous?" And she just looked at us like we were idiots, which in a way we were, because neither him or I were like, what the fuck are they?
Sure. And where I come from in Louisiana, they eat them.
Oh wow. But yours are also different there.
Ooh, I don't know.
Yours are angrier than the Australian possums, I think.
And that's why they kill them and eat them.
Yeah. Well, at least you don't kill them in vain.
No, we do.
It was in self-defense.
That is. Hey, listen, in Louisiana, pretty much anything gets killed, it gets eaten. That's how it goes. So after Bob the Builder, what happened next?
After Bob the Builder, came back to Spain. I did a little tour with the art rock band Yes.
Yeah.
We did a little European tour. And then after that, I started working for a local company to try and settle down with the girlfriend I had at the time. And I worked for the local company as a promoter rep for about 2 years. Okay. And then that company had to shut down that branch because I only covered an area, and they weren't selling as many tickets in that part of the area and that part of the south of Spain. So then I went back to doing sound tech work for a local company. We did mostly corporate stuff and political meetings and stuff like that. Okay. And then I emailed Jake one day and I said, "Can I be a carpenter?" Because when I told him Bob the Builder, I remembered that on loadouts, I would always jump in with Mike Washer, who recently interviewed, and Shell, his wife, because they were the carpenters, and I would jump in and help them take apart the Bob's garage. I think it was either the garage or the house. It was one of the two. And I remember quite enjoying that part of the gig. And I was like, emailed Jake Berry and said, "Can I do a bit of carpentry work or whatever?" So he said, "Yeah, just bear with me. He says, I've got this tour called Walking with Dinosaurs," which was already a production that was running around the US, and they were building a second production to have it simultaneously running in Europe. Okay. So he sort of had me on standby on that for about a year, and during that year, I worked with my parents in a little hotel they'd set up. And at the end of the year, he said, "Okay, we finally have a starting date." So I jumped in on Walking with Dinosaurs as a carpenter. And that was 2009 by then.
Okay. Wow. All right. And how long were you a carpenter on that tour?
We did a full 2 years straight. Okay. With that. Then we had a little break. I think it was about 8 months. Then I went back onto that tour as carpenter / swing automation. So when the automation guys had a break, one of the automation guys would have a break, I would fill in for that automation guy during the for the shows.
In automation?
So automation is moving scenic parts. So on Walking with Dinosaurs, we had some curtains that opened and closed.
Yeah.
Some curtains that went up and down. We had 3 set pieces that represented continents that would move around the stage, and they would open up and trees would come out and there'd be smoke and stuff coming out of them. And then we also had a flying dinosaur, which was basically a robot hanging off, was it 8 points, I think? And each point was on a winch, and then the winches were programmed to move him like a marionette to make him look like, to make the bird, make it look like a flying dinosaur.
No way. That's amazing.
And so I started jumping in, that was what, 2000 and, that would have been 2012 by then, I think. I started helping automation on that one. About halfway through the tour, the automation number 2 guy, there was only 2 automation guys, quit. So then I jumped in to replace him, and we brought in an old, not old as in old, but as in a carpenter that had previously worked with us to fill in for me.
Uh-huh.
And then I moved into automation, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
That's what you're doing today?
Yeah.
Are you on tour right now? I mean, obviously you're in Spain, that's where you live, but are you off, or what's going on right now?
So I've been working with Queen and Adam Lambert since 2018.
Okay.
I've been doing all the shows they've done with automation. They've done a couple of one-offs with no automation, like in festivals and stuff, but I've done all the touring shows they've done, and the residency they did in Vegas back in 2018, and then that's been postponed because of COVID. It got postponed a year and then another year. So I'm supposed to be starting that in May for the Rhapsody tour in Europe.
All right.
And in the meantime, I've only recently had a chance. I've had 18 months with no work whatsoever. And recently I got into a theater in Malaga in the south of Spain, a theater that belongs to Antonio Banderas. And he is producing and directing and starring in his own version of the musical Company. And that has a revolving stage and a moving, it's like a moving platform. We call it a stage wagon. That's on stage. And I had to go and install it and program it all for him. And I've been helping them with some troubleshooting and stuff.
Wow, that is awesome. See,
yeah,
exactly the kind of thing that made me want to do this show. Yeah, I love this. Thank you. So, and I also noticed along my keeping up with you on the Book of Face, as they call it, you are in a punk band?
I am in a punk band.
Tell us about
it. We started in 2008 when I moved back to the town I live in now. So that was after I finished working with the sound company. I met up with an old friend of mine from my teen years, and he's a drummer. And we said, let's start a band. We found another friend of ours, a younger kid, and we set up a band called the Mexican Sugar Skulls.
Yes.
And we've been doing stuff. We recorded an album in 2011 or so, 2012, I think we released it. We played a few shows, but it kind of makes it difficult when you're touring. Because sometimes we book gigs, like, okay, we'll play a gig in March, and then suddenly I get a call to do, this actually happened. I got a call to go and do the programs, some stuff for the closing ceremonies in Sochi in Russia.
Okay.
So, and they were, I asked them, when do you need me then? They said, well, as soon as the visa's sorted. So, about 10 days after I got the email, I had to go to Russia. So then I had to cancel the gigs that we had booked. And that's kind of how that band goes.
Gotcha.
And we recently started in the COVID times. We've started a new band. Me and another few friends. We've started a band called Los Trejo. You'll like that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of old Beastie Boys, but in Spanish.
No way.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, when the Beastie Boys played punk, but they're kind of rapping,
Absolutely.
screaming on top.
Yeah.
Well, it's that kind of vibe.
Man, we're doing Sabotage, playing instruments this Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. What do you play?
So rhyming and stealing is still going on.
It is. Yeah. Can you believe
Sweet.
it? It'll be 13 years in May.
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
I shown people. I'm like, hey, I got this. You know, if you ever want to see the Beastie Boys.
Thank you. I don't want to brag, but here's a little segue. You mentioned earlier you tour it. You're working with Queen, and Brian May and Adam Lambert, and you were telling me earlier, even touring and working with those guys, you've worked with someone else that you brag about more than them. Tell me who that is.
I worked with this guy who played Barney, the purple dinosaur, in the live version.
You crazy dude. You are.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Goodness. Well, I'll take that. I'll wear that. Yeah, I'll claim.
Also played Scoop, wasn't it? Scoop.
It was. No. Scoop. Yes, it was Scoop. Yep. That was fun. That was a good time. Those big old. You had to drive around in a giant toy. You know those.
Yeah,
when you had the motorized cars, the kids still have them, you know, and they're battery operated. Now I've got a giant, like man-sized.
Yeah.
It was so fun. So
tell you what, that tour, that Bob the Builder tour, is one of the ones I've kept in touch with people from. Arnie came to see me a few years ago in Bilbao because he'd gone to Germany for some time. Okay. Harold, he was touring through Madrid with Maroon 5 as I was flying back to Spain from some other gig, and I went and spent an extra night in Madrid to do the load-in with him because that was the only time that he was going to be in Madrid. So Michelle, I couldn't meet with Mike because he was on the road, but I had a day off in Columbus, and so I met up with Michelle. Well, Mike had left like the day before or something. Dana Vanilla.
Yeah.
Dana Vanilla. If I'm in LA, anywhere in LA with rehearsals, and I've got three hours off, he'll drive from wherever he's in LA to come and hang out. Like, and I'll, you know, and we stay in touch all the time. There's a lot of people from that tour that, you know, we've not seen each other, but I've been, you know, close to you. Like we, you know, kept chatting and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people on that tour that are still part, you know, in one way or another, are still in my life. And there's other tours that I'm like, yeah, had a great time with those people, but I don't know what they're up to, you know?
Yeah, right. Especially when you do several. Like
yeah.
So you tour a lot. Tell me, there's lots of obstacles, you know, issues you run into here and there. Tell me about a time, if you can remember, where, boy, it really hit the fan and you thought, there's no way that we are going to get this show at whatever time it goes on. But sure enough, the team did what it does, and it happened. About a time like that, will you?
I think the most extreme one I've done was probably on the last tour that I did just before COVID. It was February 2020, so it was just before lockdown. And we did the first show we did in Australia with Queen, Brisbane. I'm pretty sure it was Brisbane. I mean, there's a video of it on YouTube if you look for like Queen and Adam Lambert, Brisbane Rain. All right. I mean, the amount of it was, I was like, there's no way we're going to do this show. There's no way. And we did the whole show. I mean, Adam Lambert had to sing with an umbrella for like most of the set as he was walking up to the beach stage and coming back. That was one of the most extreme ones in that sense. And that was a tour that would already toured around the US, and we'd just done we've done Korea, Japan, New Zealand. We've done all these outdoor venues, and there's wind and there's other stuff going on. But then suddenly we got to that show, and it was like I've never seen anything like it, and it got done.
And it got done.
And I was like, there's no way anyone's going to come and see the show. Like it was like, it was full. Like the show was sold out, but I said half the people aren't even going to show up. People are going to be like, this isn't worth my time. But the place was absolutely full with people with little. Oh, hold on a second. Someone's knocking on the door.
Oh, yeah. We'll edit this part out. Or maybe we won't, depending on who it is. Oh, no, we'll keep this in. You love kitties.
His name's Cristo.
Cristo.
As in Christ in Spanish.
Hello, Cristo.
He's a little COVID baby. He was born in the middle of the lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Hello, Cristo. So, speaking of lockdown, COVID.
Yes.
You mentioned briefly 18 months of no work.
Yep.
Besides no work, what did you do?
So the first 3 months we were in full lockdown. So I was living with a good friend of mine who's a sound technician, and so we set up a recording studio in the ground floor of the house we were living in.
All right.
Because it was a big house. So we recorded songs, we did little music videos, did like covers of Weezer and stuff like that. Just the two of us. We played a little streaming show where we played the Mexican Sugar Skull songs because he plays drums. So we did drums, guitar, and vocals.
Okay.
We did like a little 20-minute set or something. We watched all of the Marvel movies in chronological order, on the chronological to the story, not by release date.
Okay. All right. Oh, nice.
What else did we do? I think that was like pretty much all we did. I did a bit of. There was a lot of drinking at the beginning, and then I realized that was not going to be sustainable. So then Monday to Fridays, I was doing little workout routines.
Okay.
I quite like rock climbing, and I realized that if I spent 3 months locked down, not doing anything, I was going to go back to, to rock climbing with there you go, without any, physical shape whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah. When did you start rock climbing?
2018, so quite late on in my life.
Not very long then. Now.
Yeah, I was 37 or something at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, 37.
Wow. Wow. What? Just a random idea to start rock climbing, or what got you into that?
When I was a teenager and I went to some summer camps, I tried a little bit and I really enjoyed it. And then when I got back home, there wasn't any rock climbing facilities, and you had to get a car and drive for like at least an hour to get anywhere where you could climb.
Sure.
But I always wanted to get back into it. And then some years ago, they built a climbing gym in Jerez, in the town I live. And one of my friends had gotten back into climbing because he was climbing in his college years. So then when I moved back here because I was living in Bilbao for a couple of years. Wow. And when I moved back here, I thought, oh, well, I'll start going to the climbing gym. It's, a good way to stay in shape and stuff. And then I just got really sucked into it, really. And then once we left lockdown, it was all about going to the climbing gym, climbing routes, setting routes. Then whenever we could go out into the mountains, go and actually climb on rocks.
Nice. I had an exchange student lived with me in high school from Bilbao, Spain.
Oh, really?
Unai Basabi. Unai Basabi Figueroa.
Okay.
It was funny because we'd go to the mall and you'd order a Subway sandwich, and they'd say, okay, and what's the name on this order? And he'd say, Unai. And they, what? Unai. I'm sorry, what is it? My name is Bob.
Brilliant.
You figured it out pretty quick. Oh, these old country people aren't going to figure this out, no matter how much I pronounce it. So, okay, rock climbing. That's what you do in your spare. That's something you love to do, a hobby. When you're on the road, is that something you can do, or what do you do for your leisure time to get away from the monotony?
Well, since I started rock climbing, shortly after I started rock climbing, went to do a 5-week residency in Vegas, and there's a decent few climbing gyms in Vegas. So I'd go and do, on days off, I'd go and do a bit of bouldering there. And then when I've toured the US, there's some very good climbing gyms all around the US. So if we had a day off in Nashville, we'd go to one. And Detroit, there's one just outside of Detroit. And European tours. Have I done any European tours? I did a little bit in Australia and that. I don't know if I've done any European tours since I started climbing. I must have. Yeah, but I don't remember going to any climbing gyms. Also, don't remember having much time off. You just go out and have food.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food to get when you're out on the road, if you got your choice?
I guess it depends on where I am.
Sure. Or tell me like a specific place. Like, when I'm here, I get this.
Okay. Well, I try to eat vegan as much as I can. So, like when I'm in the UK, I like to get a lot of curries and stuff. Yeah. In the US, I either go for like your sort of, greasy vegan burger joints or something, or if I'm sometimes I'll eat fish, so sushi a lot.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What else do I like to eat? I just like to eat anything. Pizza.
Yeah. All right.
I did a 6-week tour around Italy and pretty much just ate pizza every day off.
Where was the best pizza in Italy?
Where's the best pizza? I couldn't even think of a place with a bad pizza in Italy, to be honest. Well, I can tell you the best ice cream in Italy is in Bologna.
Tell me about that.
I know, every time I'm in Bologna, I seem to have a day off, and I always go get ice cream, and it's always like the best gelato is in Bologna. It's also one of my favorite cities in Italy, maybe because of that.
Okay. What else do you do in Bologna when you're there? What else is great that you love there?
But it's just a nice town. It's just nice vibes. It's very oldie, but it's very studenty. The venue's cool. It's like all wooden roof ceilings and stuff, so it's a bit, it's a bit different.
Okay.
But yes, it's just nice bars and nice people, and there's always good restaurants. But I always end up just remembering the ice cream.
Hey, sometimes those memories just stick with you, but random, however that goes.
Yeah.
Right on. So what's next for Jody? What do you got on the horizon?
So I got the Rhapsody Tour European leg, which we're booked to do starting May, and that takes us through to the end of July.
Okay.
And then I'm hoping to have a couple weeks in Mexico as a little break, and then see what September brings. I'll probably have to go to Malaga beforehand to take down the revolving stage I put in Antonio's theater. Gotcha.
How long do you think you're going to be on tour? How long do you see yourself doing this job?
Oh God, I don't know. Sometimes I think I could last another 10 years, and sometimes in the middle of the job, I'm like, I need to,
not going back.
Right. Yeah, well, but I don't see myself over 50 on the road.
Gotcha.
I think if I can find a way to not be on the road and, live a comfortable life before I'm 50, I'd be happy to leave.
What do you think that looks like?
What?
Do you think you'll still be in the business, maybe at the warehouse, sending what do you call it? Getting the orders together, getting all the equipment together to get them on the trucks to send them out? Or are you going to do something like garden or?
Yeah, I don't know. recently I've been having to, because the theatre in Malaga I put the show in. I had to teach the theatre crew how to set up and operate and run the equipment I put in.
Okay.
And I started playing with the idea of maybe doing some teaching, even if it's part-time or
Teaching what?
automation or
Got it.
theatre technology stuff.
Nice. Hey,
So maybe that way, maybe also I'd like to get involved in designing like concepts for shows and stuff like that.
yeah, well, you got to experience how all that goes together, and got a creative mind as well. Yeah.
I also like to set up a tiki bar, so I don't know.
Ooh, I have an old friend from worked at Dick's Last Resort, the restaurant. I don't know if you're familiar with that restaurant where they're rude to you. You know, the waiters are rude to you and on purpose. He was a bartender there, and now he has his own tiki bar. It's called Swizzle.
Nice. Swizzle. Where is it?
In Dallas, Texas.
Okay,
plug.
I'll have to.
Free plug, Marty.
I'll have to pin it down on next time I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Check it out. It's on Facebook as well. They got the decor in there is on point. Just looking at the beverage, I get a little buzz to be the umbrellas, the pineapples and everything. But yeah, Swizzle, come check it out anytime.
Swizzle.
Let you know. Wow. Jody, you want to tell the people's anything else before we wrap this up?
I don't know. Go check out the Mexican Sugar Skulls.
Yeah, check them out. You got some videos on Facebook, right? You got
we got videos on YouTube. We got a couple of music videos and a couple of crappy homemade live show videos.
The best kind.
Yeah, man.
Maybe we could do
the
Mexican Sugar Skulls and Ryman and Steeling.
Los Trejo. That would be a show for Los Trejo and Ryman and Steeling.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Anybody? Let's make that.
We're gonna record stuff this in the next couple of months. So I'll send you stuff privately for your private ears to listen to.
Well, everybody heard it here.
I play bass in that band, by the way. You asked me before. I play bass in Los Trejo and I play guitar in Mexican Sugar Skulls, guitar and vocals.
Well, I do MCA's part in Ryman and Steeling, so I play bass on Sabotage.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. Let's make it happen.
Are you gonna film that? Are you gonna record it?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some video on it by Sunday. We play Saturday night, so there'll be some on Sunday or Monday. I'm sure somebody will put it up.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Jody, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Lovely seeing you.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing all your other videos with all the other peeps.
Definitely. Yeah. Keep watching. We appreciate everybody's support. It's been, I can't even believe it. I really appreciate everybody tuning in, subscribing. Tell your friends, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, all that kid stuff you do these days, right?
Yeah.
Put your tail on it. Hit it with your tail. Jody, thanks for pushing cases with us.
Hey, thank you.
Safe travels.
Stay well.
All right now.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Bye.